And cue.
Awesome.
Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
You can either talk in the Crystal program.
I am the one and only Chris Tuck.
You can either talk in the Crystal program.
Broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment.
The VCR and the DVD, there was a night of that rap back in 1970. We didn't know about the World War Web, was a whole different game being played back when I was a kid. Wanna get down in a cool way, picture yourself on a beautiful day. Big bell bottoms and groove long hair, just walking in style with a party book MP3 play. You can listen to the music on the Crystal program. You can hear the music on the Crystal program.
Only Chris Tuck.
Play the music on the Crystal program. You can hear the talk in the Crystal program.
Sunny Clarksville, Tennessee.
You can hear the talk in the Crystal program.
This is the Chris Top Program.
And I'm the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from our lavish home studio here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee, with an ocean view.
Sup.
How the hell are you doing, world?
That was a premature sup.
It was kind of premature.
Your voice is back.
It's not quite back yet. I'm still squeaking a little bit. But it's getting there. It's getting there.
You're like squeakers.
I know I had some conflicts. I almost said BB King's and I almost said apartment.
I knew you were going to say a lavish BB King studio apartment.
Something. We're broadcasting from
Approachment.
somewhere. I don't know. I don't know where it's at.
Broadcasting live from the
We've
from
got
the
some
ditch.
guests in the studio today. How's that? I mean, it's like
That's like,
we're having real interaction with
feel-
people. It's not just on Skype.
I feel special.
I know. I feel kind of special too. Mike, how are you today, buddy?
Good, Chris. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. So, how do we know each other?
Well, it's a long, long story.
It goes way back, don't it?
It goes way back.
Dude, we were like little kids in church.
Yep.
Oh,
It goes
wow.
back that far.
It goes back 1979.
At one time, I was taller than you, I think.
You might have been.
Yeah. I don't know what happened or when it happened.
We both grew up and grew out. That's what-
Yes. Hell, both ways. I went that way and, both ways. So it's kind of crazy. And, Jory, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Chris. How you doing?
You got to hold your mic up.
Hold your mic up, bruh.
Now, what's our story?
I guess I've known you since I was probably.
Thank you.
I was probably.
Tiffany's got to keep you straight, man.
Probably
Right,
a
right.
sophomore or freshman in high school, probably somewhere around there.
I think so. Yeah, we were in school together, and we hung out. We got in trouble, I guess, together in school. Did we do some stuff at church too? It seems like we did, but maybe we didn't.
I went to Hilldale and Bethel whenever. I don't know if you went to any of those churches or not.
Yeah, I can't see it all kind of goes together after a while,
What's kind of we're so young now.
right? But no, we were tight though. I mean, I enjoyed hanging out with you and stuff in school. And then Tiffany, we just met today.
Give Tiffany the
so
mic.
you're the better half.
I am the better half.
Yeah.
Very
So
much so.
do you get along with him okay?
I tolerate him.
Who wears the pants in the family?
We both do.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I wasn't expecting
No,
that.
time out.
No. I'm glad of
After
this.
23 years of marriage, I will tell you. I wear the pants in my house.
Yeah.
She just tells me which ones to put on.
Hey, I'm glad that you said that because I'm all about equal rights and stuff. That makes me happy.
Yeah, we
actually
actually
both wear the pants.
I think it's both of us actually. We both
Right.
do the house cleaning. We both.
I run things at my house. I really do.
Yeah?
The washer, the dishwasher.
They're fighting over the microphone.
No, that would be me. You
Well,
do the cooking though. That's good.
I'm glad you guys didn't think I was nuts this morning because what I did was I got on the Facebook Messenger and I just reached out to, I don't know, probably 15 of my friends. And I said, anybody that wants to come over tonight and discuss what happened in Orlando, maybe how it relates to our community here in Clarksville, I'd love to have you come over. And then you guys were daring enough to actually do it.
They were daring.
So that's kind of...
State, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. About that. About the state. But no, actually, Mike had contacted me yesterday, and he wanted to discuss it. And at first I said no because, well, you know, I didn't have my voice back, and then the studio wasn't put back together after CMA Fest, and I slept on it. And I got up this morning, and I was like, Chris, that was kind of an asshole move, is what I was thinking. Because I just felt kind of selfish because, Mike's got something that he wants to talk about, that he wants to say. And I just felt selfish for saying, no, I'm not going to do it. So I just thought it was important to, to get, you guys in here and we can talk about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we all got lives.
Sure.
Period.
Sure.
I guess what hit me close to home on this subject is, first of all, I was born in Orlando.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I was born in Orlando. But second of all, last week, while I was in Gulf Shores, y'all heard about the girl here in town that had her throat cut by her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She's like my niece. I got the phone call down there about what had happened. So it hits close to home here in Clarksville.
Sure.
Unfortunately, all this happened in Orlando, but bad things happen worldwide, even in our own hometowns, and everybody's hometown.
It's like
Absolutely.
nobody is really safe anymore.
That's right. I guess the thing that radical Islam or whatever you want to call it, to me, we're under attack. It's, and I'm not saying just Islam. I'm not just saying Muslims. I'm not saying it. There's evil people in this world.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter. It comes in all colors, all races, everything.
You know what's funny though, when you look at political correctness and how far it's come, it's like a disease. It's come so far since the 1980s. The politicians are afraid to call evil evil. We've got a president that's afraid to call it radical Islam.
He refuses.
He refuses to say it, and I'm torn with a few things when it comes to that because, a lot of times we look at a situation like what happened in Orlando, and we're focusing on, well, the president refuses to say this, and it's a gun issue, and that goes with both sides. There shouldn't be guns, that would have never happened, or there should have been guns there, and then they could have stopped it, and it's like people forget and they focus on this other crap that doesn't really matter. They lose sight on what happened. 50 or 49, or is it 50?
49.
49 Americans died. It's the largest shooting, or it's the second worst thing to happen since 9/11. And we lose sight on what the real issue is. And it's easy to get caught up in this stuff. And I know we're going to talk about the guns, and my thing was too, a lot of people want to focus on it and call it a hate crime because it was a gay club. But they're still Americans, and it happened.
Right.
I mean, it could have happened here in Clarksville. It could have happened at our mall. I mean, when 9/11 happened, would they have called that a hate crime against, I don't know, secretaries? I mean,
well, no one really knows if it was that he attacked it because it was a gay club or just the first place he came into. Has that
Sure.
ever been specified?
well, I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't matter. But I mean,
But-
people automatically assume that.
And and a lot of the talk too is that he was actually a member there. He may have been gay himself. He went there and tried to pick up men and that type of thing. And maybe he was gay. Maybe he lost it. Maybe he's been staking the place out. I don't know.
Maybe
But
somebody turned him down on a proposal and he got mad and shot the whole place up.
who knows? Who knows? But regardless of the reason, it's still an act of terrorism.
Yes,
in my book.
Yeah, and what makes me so angry is that I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people are using this to further their own agendas of
Yes.
either against the gun thing or the gay issues that we have. But it makes me so angry because Americans died. Period. Underline. Americans died. And the fact that people are using that to further their own agenda is sickening.
Yeah, and when we sit around and talk about it like this, even if it's on a microphone, if we want to talk about guns or if we want to talk about the terrorism and the hate crime and all that stuff, that's one thing. But when a politician takes their podium in front of millions of people, then they're using it to, I think, push that agenda. You know, and I think my thing is, you know, when are we going to start talking about what we're going to do?
Right,
about
we need
this?
a
There's
plan.
Really, I'm a realist.
Okay.
All right. So taking political parties out of it completely, realistically, they can come for the government can come for our guns. They can do it. They can't take them. It's impossible. All right. That's first and foremost. There's more guns in America than there are people. I own guns.
You may have more guns in America than there are people.
I own a lot of guns, but
Yeah.
and I've bought them person to person sales. I've bought them from the stores. When you buy person to person, I document who I bought my gun from. But they're not registered to me.
Is that legal? I don't
It
even
is
know.
legal.
Yeah.
In the Tennessee state, in Tennessee, to buy person to person, if I'm selling you a gun, I have to, in good faith, know that you're not a criminal, a felon. When I sell you the gun, I'm supposed to document by name, driver's license, and phone number if they have all pertinent information that's needed. And I'm to keep it. If that gun's ever used in a crime and they come back to me, I can say, hey, I sold it on this date to this gentleman right here or this lady right here.
Now, do you have to have that like notarized, or how
No,
does
you
that
don't have
work?
to have it notarized. I've got
on a napkin?
You can have it on a napkin.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, but as long as you keep it.
Right,
And,
okay.
And then you would sign it, and I would sign it.
Okay.
I give you a receipt. I keep one.
Okay.
That's how it's done. That's how it's done legally.
So if I wanted a gun, I could go to you. I could buy one off of you. We just have to sign a piece of paper.
That's it.
Then I can come home with a cannon or whatever.
That's exactly right.
Out
Well,
around
no,
the
not
house
cannon.
in the back.
Anything that's to do with the legal.
He won't let me
legal
have
firearms.
his cannon.
Legal firearms.
Why do you have so many guns?
I'm an outdoorsman. I'm a hunter, and I'm a shooter. And honestly, it's my God-given right to own a gun.
Sure.
And I can own as many as I want.
Amen to that.
I'll tell you.
Mike's like, why you got so many microphones, Doc?
I mean, everybody.
that.
The argument over the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment states that it's not about hunting. There's not one damn thing, excuse my language, in the Second Amendment that is about hunting. It's about the right to keep and bear arms against a tyrannical government.
Sure.
So, in my eyes, if my government can own something, I should be able to own it. Now, with that being said, the laws stipulate since 1950 something, I think, an assault rifle. What everybody hears, ban the assault rifle. Well, since 1953 or something like that, they've been banned. You can't just go buy one. You have to do a background check. You have to pay a tax stamp. You have to do all this stuff, and it's an extensive 6-month or better process to get
Holy
that
cow.
gun.
Now, why have an assault rifle and not just have a shotgun? I mean, what's the difference?
There is no difference. A weapon's a weapon. There's different. For me, I want one of all of them. I mean, that's just me.
You're a collector. I
Yes,
mean,
I am a
it's
collector.
what you
So-
love doing.
That's
right.
exactly right. So, but the argument with banning the assault rifles, banning, only having a 10 round magazine, putting all this is, if you allow the government one step, they'll take multiple steps. It's just like, I mean, that's human nature.
Sure.
That's in business. That's in government. I mean, in business, if I do something, if you give me a leeway to make a little bit more money, I'm going to try to go make some more money. I mean, it's just a step. It's a step. And in legislation, that's what it is. And I want to fight for my Second Amendment rights and everybody's Second Amendment rights. But with that being said, we have to come to a conclusion on gun violence. if the government would allow law enforcement to do their jobs with the gun laws that are on the books right now, they could stop a lot of it. They won't give them the money. And that, on political wise, that's not the left side, that's not the right side.
Mm-hmm.
The left says we want more gun. We want more gun, take the guns away, whatever. More rules, more laws. On the right side, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Look, it's easy. Make them enforce the laws they have on the books today. And this would solve a lot.
You're talking about enforcing laws. You mean like just like background checks and stuff like that? What are you talking about?
Well, the background checks are, in all honesty, the background checks are, and I'll say it, they're lax.
I mean, anybody can go buy a shotgun, right? I mean, you don't
Not
have to have.
anybody. If you've had a felony, if you have a domestic assault or anything like that, no, you cannot.
Like if I just wanted to order a shotgun off of the Walmart website, I mean,
You can't. You have to go to Walmart, fill out the proper paperwork.
Okay.
You have
Now,
to.
what's
you
the
have a
waiting
background
period?
check.
What's the waiting period on that?
A background check is about 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20
Now,
minutes.
now, see, somebody who obeys the law is going to do stuff like that, but there's guns on the streets. I mean, you can go to the black market and get a gun, and the government ain't going to know.
Yeah.
Well,
So what if?
that's
So what if a guy comes to you and he doesn't want to do the background check thing and buys one of your guns?
Well, if he comes to me, I don't have to do a background check.
Right. So
All I
that's
got to do
a
is
loophole. So
they call it a loophole, but honestly, if you take financially wise, if they come in right now and told me that I had to register every one of my weapons, and it only costs $10 each, I'm looking at a substantial hit to my bank account.
sure.
So I mean, once you add it up, person to person sales are legal. If you buy from a dealer, then you have.
Now,
to
do you
background
think
check.
they should take away the person to person sales?
No, I do not. I think
I saw Jory shaking his head too. Now, U.S. Veteran Radio says hi, so I want to just give them a quick shout out. Also, I want to say hi to Nita Cash that's listening. She left a comment on Twitter. So if you guys want to join the show, you're more than welcome. All you have to do is go to thechris.program.com, and there's a chat box there, and you can actually ask questions in the chat box and communicate with us like that, and we would certainly appreciate it. But I mean, it seems like it makes it easy, though, for somebody that that could be a criminal to get a gun if they just buy it from somebody like that. So, I mean, that's
the thing, and I don't know the answer. I don't even want to act like I do. All I know is that I still want to keep buying guns,
sure,
person to person, because I can get them cheaper. Unfortunately, it is a financial thing.
It's almost like you could. What if they had a system set up where you could take it to an establishment and have them run a background check before you sold it to that person?
You could do that, but that's going to be
that's on you.
There's still going to be a cost.
Yeah, seems like that would be. If I was going to sell somebody a gun, it seems like that might be the way that I would want to do it, just so I could sleep at night, unless I knew the person knew the person, But I don't know. I mean, you hear people like both sides talking about different things. Like when the shooting happened in Orlando, the left side is take guns away. The right side is, well, if there would have been more guns there, less people would have died. But I think both sides are using it as a platform, because if you look at 9/11, they didn't ban airplanes.
Right.
Well, look at you want to talk about banning stuff. Are we going to ban the pressure cooker that killed the people at the Boston
Yeah, exactly.
Marathon?
Exactly.
I mean,
Cain killed Abel with a rock.
yeah, exactly.
They're banning
Can't
a
kill
rock?
anyone with a rock.
We're gonna ban rocks now.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I hate saying this, but my honest opinion about Orlando, and somebody asked a question on Facebook today. How did he get in with all that ammo?
I know, it just
With all-
didn't stop. I mean, how many minutes did it go on?
7.
7 minutes. How many rounds is that, just nonstop?
Well, at 30 round, he had 30 round magazines, and they said he emptied 30 of them.
And that brings another thing up to the discussion, was that they was talking about they believe actually that there was more than one person involved, but they don't want to publish that out there because then it's going to show that somebody else that was involved didn't get caught.
Well, here's the thing. The question was, how did he get in there? Well, self-preservation done it. And what I mean by that is they were at the door. It's a no-gun zone. No weapons allowed. If there would have been an armed security, I'm not saying just any Joe Blow. Mm-hmm. If there would have been an armed security guard or a police officer at that door, when that gentleman come, or that person, I ain't even call him gentleman, that person came and he brandished his weapon. If I'm standing there without a weapon, what am I doing? I'm hightailing it out of here. Mm-hmm. I'm getting out of the way. Mm-hmm. That left the door wide open. If there would have been an armed guard at that door, it could have been stopped. If it couldn't have been stopped, a lot more people would have survived.
Sure.
I've been in gunfights. I've been shot at. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. When you see a flash from a muzzle, whether you got one in your hand or not, you find a hiding spot real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Maggie's wanting to be your co-host there. Sorry about that.
But the thing is the person. I honestly believe he's a coward in the first place. But if somebody would have been there, and they didn't kill him, and they shot and missed him, I don't think he'd have ever took another step toward the door. I think he'd have hightailed it out.
You think so?
I do. I mean,
because he knew he was the only one with guns in there.
That's
and he
exactly
just,
it.
Yeah.
That's in my honest opinion. Yes, he knew that he was the only person that had a weapon in there.
So had there been a couple of people with concealed weapons in there, it could have been 25 people
That's
instead
right.
of 49.
Instead of 49. Yep. I'm not saying that. By no means am I saying if we arm every citizen,
sure, that
things are going to change, because they're not. Mm-hmm. We live in an evil world. It's getting more evil every day. But I honestly believe that with my right to bear arms,
I think we live in a good world with a lot of evil people.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But when I say
I figured that's what you meant.
Yeah,
that's
exactly it.
I just don't want people to be like,
right.
Stupid Bible pusher talking on the. I just don't know what he's talking about. Yeah.
But that's exactly what I mean. But there's more evil coming out.
Yes.
We've got. Like I said, I don't know what the answer is. I know what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do to protect my family and my friends and anybody else. But
right. I mean, like if the government takes our guns away, I mean, the purpose of a gun is to protect yourself and to protect your family and those you love. And a criminal isn't going to be like, oh, this is a no-gun zone, or oh, I'm not supposed to have a gun. Yep. The law-abiding citizens are going to say, oh, I can't have guns because that's the law. But a criminal is going to have that gun. How are you supposed to protect yourself and your family if you don't have the means to do so?
Back in my younger days.
Back in my day.
Back in my younger days. When I was not such a nice guy that I am today, we made guns.
Like out of wood? What are you talking about?
No, I made when I grew up in a motorcycle shop. Mm-hmm. I worked on Harley Davidsons all the time. And with Harley Davidsons, it comes guns.
Guns.
Well, I had a lot
Why
of
didn't you ever pick on me? I don't understand. Because he would have been the guy that would have picked on me.
But, we had a lot of special forces guys come in.
Uh-huh.
And they had flares. Well, guess what? These flares would work. The trigger mechanism, what would fire that flare into the sky was a .32 caliber bullet, blank. Well, you take the flare, you shoot the flare, you just have this thing that looks like a mag light with a trigger on it. I mean, it's just a spring trigger. So we got the bright idea, stainless steel, measured it, put it on a lathe, and we made 2-inch barrels that screwed on the top that you took a...
He's teaching any terrorists listening right now how to make a gun.
32 caliber bullet.
They're dumping their box cutters down.
Right.
Put a 32
Time for an
caliber
upgrade.
bullet and it's done. I mean...
Ban the box cutter.
But that's the point right there, is the bad guy will always find a way.
Well, he will always find a way. I want to say hi to Jasmine Marie that's listening. U.S. Veterans Radio says, bring back the mafia owning bars. Don't think we'd see this ever. JP says, hello, Yeah, I think, Jasmine, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people feel that same way. She says she's still trying to comprehend everything that went down this weekend.
It's like every day I look in the news and something horrible is happening. It's like
that's true.
I don't know what to.
Whether it's here or if it's in Orlando or where it's at, it's nonstop. There's a lot out where we live. You hear, check on Facebook through different websites of somebody else being shot maybe 2-3 miles from where we live, and it gets a little uneasy.
And I don't want to be negative here, but I feel like it's only going to get worse if we don't unite. As American citizens, we need to unite.
Like I said, it's not just in Orlando. This right now, Orlando is the big topic of everything going on, but it's all over the place. Everywhere you look. I don't watch the news. I don't like watching the news. Unfortunately, I have Facebook for that, but I don't watch the news. It's so much negative.
I trust Facebook more than I do the news nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if not, then you've got Google, so search
Because
it
the
out.
news outlets went, you're either on the right side or the left side.
They have their own agenda.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And that's the,
They don't come out
People
and say
are
it, but they
so-
endorse politicians.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
People are so confused about what way to go and what to do now. It's like almost impossible for everybody to unite.
Yeah, and anybody that's listening, I want you to understand something. None of us are educated in political science or anything like that. We're just educated in life.
I'm a redneck.
And I love you for being a redneck. I do. But we're just normal people, just like you are, and we're sitting around having the same conversation that you're going to be having at your dinner table or next time you go out and have a drink with a friend or whatever. And this is all that is. And the reason I wanted to do this show is just because I want everybody out there listening to know that you're not alone. I mean, there are people out there just like you feeling the same way. And I've got something that I want to bring up too. I'm going to bring it up, and we're going to take a quick break. But I'm going to throw this question out there, and if anybody wants to answer it, feel free to do it, and I'll give everybody here some time to ponder on it. But has America become too passive when it comes to these types of situations? And we'll come back and we'll dig into that just a little bit more in a sec.
Hey, this is Bernie Sanders. I want to invite everybody to Feel the Burn, the next presidential election. People ask me all the time, Bernie, where did you get the idea for Feel the Burn? Well, one day my prostate was just on fire. It was smoking. It was on fire. I mean, really, honest to God, it set off the smoke detector in my house. A lot of people think I'm the only candidate that tells the truth. Well, I'm going to be honest with you starting right now. I'm not really a socialist. I'm a full-blown commie. I'm a commie bastard. Hillary's not telling the truth either. She's not a progressive Democrat. She's a socialist. But none of that matters because the kids, they love me. I'm like everybody's Uncle Bernie. Put me in the White House, you won't have to pay for your college. I'll give you free medical. Hell, I'll fix it to where you never have to work another day in your life. You can just sit around all day and do what kids do, play Pong and stuff. You may be asking yourself, Bernie, well, how are you going to fund all this? Well, I'll tell you, I'm printing money in my basement. Right now, I'm printing money with my face on it. Bernie Sanders, feel the burn. I'm better than 100 Republican candidates. I mean, hell, I told Lincoln, you better free those slaves, and they put him on the damn penny. I can offer you something that none of the other candidates can offer you, and that's wisdom. Bernie Sanders was the guy that told Jesus Christ to feed everybody. I gave him the idea to turn the water into wine and just give it away. Remember to put Bernie Sanders in the White House. Vote for Bernie. Feel the burn. 2012. Not 2016 because I died 4 years ago. This message is approved by Bernie Sanders.
This has been a Chris Top production.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Mr. Top.
Take it from the top.
Did you ever think you could afford an interior designer?
No, way too expensive. Besides, I've got style.
If you had style, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Ouch. Interior designers are for rich people.
Magnolia Emporium.
Magnolia Aquarium? Is that like for some crazy flower fish?
No, Magnolia Emporium. Randy's clients range from nurses and teachers to musicians, actors, and even some royalty thrown in there.
Oh, I'd be on the royalty side.
You really don't have any swag, do you?
No, I don't.
That's where Randy comes in. He listens to exactly what you want, whether it's spoken or unspoken.
Okay, if you mean he can read my mind, there's lots of things I don't want Randy to know.
No, he has a great feel for what he does.
Okay, where can I find Magnolia Emporium?
Just go to magnoliaemporium.com.
We want your space to reflect your success. The Top, broadcasting worldwide on iHeartRadio and Spreaker.com.
And you are absolutely, positively, 100% for sure in the right place. This is the Chris Top program. I want to say this really, really quick. We do not, nor will we ever take any of you for granted, because I know there's a million other things you could be doing, but guess what? You chose to listen to us. Makes me feel pretty damn good. So I love you guys for that. Now, I asked a question before we took our break. Has America become too passive? Because if you think about it like this, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, it came out of the blue, and they just attacked that base, and I don't remember how many people died. I mean,
too many.
Yeah, and then we immediately went to war. Now, what's been happening here is a little bit here and there. I mean, this is a big deal. 49 people died. Was it Sunday night or Sunday morning?
Sunday morning.
Yeah, and then and then there's little pockets of things happening all around the world. The Paris thing happened, and it's almost like it's just going into this slowly instead of all at once. So I mean, what does it take to be a big disaster? What? And when it does hit us, when they are at our back door, are we going to be ready for it? And the scariest question for me is, and I'm not talking about the people, but I'm talking about the government, are we going to do anything? Because I see a lot of countries now that have let so many of these radicals into their country that they probably can't do anything about it at this point. So will we do anything when they're at our back door and we have malls or stadiums or grocery stores getting shot up or blown up every other day? What's going to happen?
I don't think they will. I mean, they've pretty well shown us that no matter what happens, we take a lax approach to solving anything. They don't solve anything. I mean, whenever they bombed or run the planes into the towers, what did we do? We didn't run over there and go after anybody. I mean, they took a long out approach of going after and didn't even go after the same people. When you research it, they didn't go after the people that they said that did it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Did we ever even go after the ones who were really responsible?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know. And I would love for somebody just to sit down and say, hey, look, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. And stop arguing over whether or not we should say radical Islam or whether or not we should blame it on, the fact that we have guns or that we shouldn't have guns or whatever. I want some kind of a game plan. And I don't know if that whole blame can even be put on the government, because I look around at the majority of people, and I'm not talking about anybody in this room because I know all you guys care. I see it. It's evident in the things that you post on Facebook and all that stuff. But it seems like the vast majority of Americans maybe have already forgotten about what happened on Sunday. They've just moved on.
And it is America's fault. We can blame the politicians, but people, every one of y'all listening to me out there, you have the right to vote. You can't blame the politicians. We put them there. Whether you voted for them or not, if you can vote, we're voting these politicians in. If they don't do their jobs, I say get rid of them. But the thing is we're to blame. I mean, that's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. The politicians are Americans too.
Yeah.
Left, right, I don't care. Independent.
And where I think it all starts, Mike, and I know you're going to agree with me on this, but it all starts at the dinner table, and that's where it happened.
Yes.
We stopped having dinner with our families and teaching our kids right and wrong, and I think that's where the fiber probably tore apart.
Yep.
But With that being said, I'm going to read this comment, and I haven't pre-read this, so I'm a little worried. U.S. Veteran Radio, how is Orlando so bad? ? 49 dead. Okay, what about the 22 vets a day committing suicide? What about the 9,300 who die every day in hospital negligence? 49 seems a pretty small number, but the real issue is to point the finger at guns and remind the public to love gay people. Why do we need to be reminded to love gay people?
You know, he's absolutely right.
He's stirring the pot, right?
They are absolutely
He's
right.
stirring the pot.
You know, the bottom line is, whether it was one life, 29 lives, 49 lives, what was the number? 93 who die every day? 9,300?
9,300 who die every day in hospitals due to negligence.
Well, here's the thing. It's a life lost.
Mm-hmm.
We, as Americans, have to fix our problems. And
We
yes,
stopped caring
have-
somewhere.
We've
Yeah.
become too passive. You know,
Why?
I'll say it. You know, I don't
But
have-
why?
Well, the thing with, I don't think the word gay even has to be brought up here. The fact of the matter is,
People died.
we lost American lives. But I do agree with the point that he made as far as, the 22 vets a day committing suicide, the 9,300 negligence. People stopped caring, and
I don't understand why, though. Why?
Desensitized.
yes, and that could have to do with just so much going on in the world, television, whatever the case may be. But I think the bottom line to me is just, again, it's having dinner at home with our kids and teaching them about these types of things. We just somewhere in there we stopped caring, and you can't blame all that on the government, because when the people speak up, hopefully, or the idea behind that is the government's going to take some kind of action, and if nobody's speaking up about the vets that are committing suicide, or the negligence in the hospitals, or the 50 people that are getting murdered, or 49 or whatever, then the government's probably not going to do anything. But they are really good, though, at deflecting our attention, to other things.
And twisting things to meet their agendas.
Statistics. Hey, let me throw a statistic out to you.
All right, go for it.
Here's the thing about statistics. They can be read different ways. You
And
give
who
me a
knows if
set
they're
of
right or not.
That's right. You give me a set of numbers, I can pitch it good. I can pitch it bad. It's all in how the media pitches everything. And like you said, it's a distraction.
Well, they can all out lie to us now, and we
Yeah.
won't even know
That's
most
right.
of the time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I try to, like, whenever somebody says something absurd on Facebook or on Twitter, I'll do my research before I'll share it, or before I will
Rebut it.
yeah, anything. And it seems like almost every time I research it that they were wrong. They just, oh my God, and then they repost it, and it's so funny. Then they'll just go and forget about it later. It's frustrating.
No, I did not. U.S. veterans, no, I did not see what he was wearing today.
That is great.
Really don't care.
But he's talking about just deflecting it and moving on to something else.
That's right.
But yeah, it's just a pity. It really, really is. I mean, if you say the name Omar Mateen, not that many people are going to know who he is.
No.
And he was the shooter. I don't think people care enough now to really pay attention anymore. And
They should care. This is our country. This is their country. They should care. They should care that our freedom is always on the line.
They don't care about the detail. It's all in what gets people the most riled up, or
Sure.
to draw attention, like you said, to deflect it off the things that's going on that
Yeah.
are really are. Well, I'm not saying, almost said that are really important, like that was. That's nowhere near
right.
what I meant.
But what do we do, Jory? I mean, like, how do we get those values back that we seem to have lost? I mean, I know that in the Norman Rockwell era, in the 1950s, it seemed like our moral fibers were better. I mean, granted, we still had a long way to go when you look at civil rights and things like that, but we had a lot of things too, I think, that were right. So how do you go back to that, but keep in mind what we know now, so we don't make the same mistakes again? I mean, can we ever get back there?
We can get there, but it didn't happen overnight. and it's not going to change overnight. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's like you were saying about starting around the dinner table. It does, because the way to do it is you have to change a house, and then that house has to change the community, and it just from that street, and it keeps branching out till you get out to where that you can change the city.
Dude, I freaking love you. Now let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you this. When you say that, are you just trying to sound good, or do you mean it?
No, I mean it. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's what's got to happen. But in all honesty, what you can look back at, and people can shrug their nose and look down and say that it's not about that, but it is about the moral fiber of how we've turned away from God. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the honest to goodness truth about it, because if you look back and show when they started taking prayer out of school, they started doing away with the Pledge of Allegiance, they started doing away with little things, and I believe it's the National Civil Liberties Union? What's the
ACLU?
Yeah, the ACLU fights to take little bitty things that you don't think amount to anything. That's taking God We Trust off of money, so that anybody who might look at their money, that it's not run back through their head and not reminds them, because that offends somebody out there that it says in God we trust on it. Let's take One Nation Under God out from under the Pledge of Allegiance, which our forefounders thought should be in there because it helped direct us in a path that was founded and believed in. Let's take that out of there. They want to inch very small little slivers.
It's because they're smart.
Yes, very. You can't take
They're so intelligent. Had the right agendas been driven when these started back in the early 1900s, we could be a lot further along where we need to be right now. But instead, we try to do everything at once, whereas what they've been doing is just taking a little bit here and there, and you don't even notice it. And then before you know it, 20 years later, we're a completely different country.
Yeah. Yeah, they take a whole jar of BBs, and while we want to take the jar, they want to remove one BB at a time.
Because they're patient.
Yeah.
They're
and
patient.
Patience is paying off for them.
Yes.
And it's morally declining us. And, I'm sorry if there's somebody out there who's atheist or whatever, and they believe that this is wrong, but they can be atheist and still let everything else stay the way it was, and it would not affect them.
Oh, I've had a discussion on atheist with an atheist. To me, there's no such thing.
No, because they're spending their whole life beating their head against saying something doesn't exist.
No, my thing is I've never met an atheist. Whether you believe, or whether they say they believe or they don't, if they hit their finger, if they hurt themselves, it's the first thing they say. Yeah. When they're on their dying deathbed.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that it's because you can't live your life and think that someone's watching you because of things that they want to do. They're afraid that if they profess to a higher power that knows what they're doing, then they feel guilty about what they're doing. Or they can't justify it. I don't look at it that way, because I look at my children and I see the things that they do that's wrong, and I want to make them do the right things, and I'll punish them. And I'm all about not sparing the rod and spoiling the child, because you need that punishment to learn.
Sure.
But nowadays, getting off the track, you're afraid to punish somebody. Everybody wins no matter what you do. So you're teaching people there's no repercussion to anything you do. You don't even got to try to win. Everybody gets an award.
Green ribbons suck.
We used to get purple ribbons at 4-H.
Yes.
That was the participation award or whatever. Everybody
Right.
participated.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's not red or blue or white, it don't count.
Now what? Everybody gets red now, don't they?
It's
Everybody
okay
gets
to
a blue.
lose. It's okay to lose. Just try harder next time.
Exactly.
If you don't win next time, maybe that's not your thing. Go do something else.
Exactly.
But they don't ever know. They don't get ready for the real world.
Nope.
No,
What are they going to do when they go out there and they actually fail at something, or fail at getting a job, or fail at something in a job and they get fired? Mama and Daddy didn't prepare me for this because I wanted everything in life.
Oh, dude, it's migrating out into that world now. I mean, you know how hard it is to fire somebody in corporate America now? It's next to impossible. They have to suck really bad, for a year before they get fired, and then they get fired, and they still give them money for 6 months till they find a new job. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
I need to find one of them jobs.
Yes. I want to say hey to JP that's listening, Cowpoke Radio tuned in, U.S. Veterans Radio. Maybe if we stop hopping bandwagons and help create solutions that work, then poor Mr. Obama won't have to keep talking about the same thing over and over again.
On the teleprompter, no less.
Right.
Rewrite his speeches, I guess.
And Jasmine says it's time Americans take action in this standing with Paris and standing with Orlando. And I was going to bring that up. Actually, Jasmine made a good point. And I think somebody said this on Facebook the other day. It may be one of you guys, but it's like after the Paris thing happened, everybody changed their Facebook to the flag, but nothing.
Yep, nothing happened.
Nothing's happening now. What's the deal?
Well, now, and I'm not knocking anything, but now everybody's going to change their backdrop to a rainbow. I'm sure. We're big about showing that we're all about supporting something, but we're all show.
Yeah, and I disagree with that. I mean, they should put the American flag on there.
Yeah,
I saw somebody do that, and I just wanted to praise them up and down for it because they put their picture was an American flag.
Yeah, I saw one of my friends, Scott, I think, post the other day. He said that he's a veteran and he fought for this country, and he felt like it was wrong that they would put the gay flag up there, and he's saying, he didn't just fight for gays; he fought for everybody, and those were Americans that died,
right,
in that club. Period. I mean, why does it have to be a black man was shot the other day? Why can't it just be a man was shot?
That's the way it should be.
I believe it was Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
What he said in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
It was about Black History Month. And he said, quit talking about it. That's the race. Quit talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like, why does everything have a marker to it? Hey.
Sure.
They're gay. He's black. He's white. He's brown.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black man. No, he's a man.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a Chinese lady. No, she's a lady.
We had our Civil War. More people died in that war than any other war. We had our civil rights movements. We had our gay rights movements. We've had all of this stuff, and it just kind of comes down to we're just all people. We're just all Americans, is what it is. I don't go around on marches, on straight marches. I don't go around bragging about being a straight guy. I don't do it. So, I mean, I don't really care what your sexual preference is. I'm going to love you anyway. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I care about your character. I care about who you are as a person.
Right.
And I don't know why people just can't get on that bandwagon.
That's not something that people can jump up and down and fight about.
That's what Jory and I were talking about on the way over here was, everybody's got a stance one way or another. And like I told him, I said, I don't care if you're gay or lesbian. I don't have a stance. Is it wrong biblically? Yes. But I'm not here to judge. It's not my right to judge.
Even the Bible says, exactly. It's not your right to judge.
There's one person that is to point that finger and judge and say what's going to happen. That's not me. Mm-hmm. But like I told him, it doesn't matter if you're gay. It doesn't matter if you're lesbian. If you're white, you're black. I don't care. You treat me right, and you're good to my family, and you're good to my friends, and I know you. I'm going to be the same towards you as you are towards me.
And let's be real honest. Let's be real honest, because the world could be listening right now. We're broadcasting out of Little Clarksville, Tennessee, but we have a few listeners out there. We're rednecks, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm proud to be a redneck.
Ah, yeah.
And everybody in this room's a redneck. Does anybody in here really hate gay people?
No, I've got very good gay friends.
Yes, I have lots, and you're one of the biggest rednecks I know.
That's right.
Yeah, so
now,
I mean,
I will say this. All right, and this is going to get me in trouble. I'll just go ahead and say it. Yeah, they're coming right now. Back in my younger days, no, really, I preached a lot of hate.
Sure.
When I was younger, color, gay. I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up. My kids don't hear it from me. Ain't never heard it from me. We're all prejudiced. Everybody in this room and that's on this radio station, or out there in the listening world right now, every breathing person is prejudiced. Now, I'm not saying you're prejudiced against color. Some people don't like fat guys.
Oh, great! I'm screwed.
Yeah, we're both done there. But, you know, I mean, there's.
He was looking right at me when he said
that's
that.
right. But some people don't like ignorant people. You know, I mean, there's prejudice in this world. We're all prejudiced. We all have a prejudice.
Yeah.
Now, how do we act upon it? You don't act upon it. You know, me personally, I do have a prejudice, but it's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem I have. And like I said, people, if you're a good person to me, I'm going to be a great person to you.
And that's the bottom line. I mean, you know, we grew up in a time that was a little different. But the thing is, everybody in this room, we understood that at the time we were ignorant.
Yeah.
And I think that's how most Americans.
I think it was just natural then.
Yeah, well, I mean, but when you look back, it was ignorance. You know, we grew up and we became more educated and we became more accepting. I mean, there's not enough time just to hate people just for their sexual preference
That's
or
right.
the color of their skin. There's not enough time to do that. It's not worth it.
How do you live your life? Hate consumes you. Draws
Yes.
away from everything else.
And we are the typical American, you know, and people need to stop from both sides. They, you know, gay people, black people, white people. The only segregation happening in America is happening within our own races.
Yep.
You know, every group is segregating themselves.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and that's where the big problem's at. We need to just stop it. You know, go back and listen to what Martin Luther King said. It works for both sides. You know, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see. We've got all kinds of people. We must have hit on something. I'm glad you don't hate gay people, Jasmine. I really am. Let's see.
Do you hate tall, white, bald guys?
With a passion. I hate the fact that you can fix your hair perfectly all morning. And I've got this little spot right here that I can't seem to cover up.
U.S. Veterans Radio says they got to push the race and sex cards to keep us all separated. And I'm thinking he means, I mean, are the politicians doing it to keep us separated, or are they doing it to put, well, I guess that does keep us separated when they're pushing their agendas.
All you have to do is keep a little bit of animosity stirred in amongst everybody, because as a nation, if we came together...
Fires people up, makes them want to vote.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we came together and stood together on anything, we could get anything accomplished. You know
Right.
what would fix everything, and it's never going to happen? Just take every politician who's ever been in office out of there and dump people into politics like us.
Yeah.
Like Davy Crockett, who was originally a congressman or whatever.
Sure.
Put people in there that are just everyday Joes and let them run for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And then get them out of there and put another Joe Blow in there.
Sure.
Because then, and don't let them get paid for it. You know, or
Honest,
or
hardworking
pay
people, or
them-
pay them what they would have made in their job.
Yeah.
or pay them just
Yeah.
a moderate wage. They don't need to be in there voting for us to get things done better for us, and it making them a lavish top of the gene pool.
Would I have to wear a tie?
No, I'm not wearing.
No.
If that's it,
Just-
I'm done.
Just you have to wear a fez, okay? No tie.
I'll put it to you this: if America goes to that, I'm moving to Canada. I'm gone.
They got better health care than Obamacare up there.
Isn't that the gist of it, Jory? I mean, shouldn't politicians not go in there for the wages? Shouldn't they go in there because they have a servant's heart?
They should go in there to try to make America better, to represent all of us out here. They should go in there with our agendas in mind, not going in there to see if they can get another Lexus in their garage.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And what do we really want? I mean, Mike, what do you really want as an
Jobs.
American?
Oh boy, you gonna put somebody on the spot?
I am.
As an American,
I mean, yeah,
You
just
know-
what? I mean, it just when you break it all down and just simplify everything. I mean, do you care about? I mean, transgender bathrooms. Why is that even a discussion?
yeah, really.
You know,
Here's my thing. I don't care what you smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you smoke pot. I don't. But I don't care if you smoke pot. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care about none of that. As long as you're a good person. Jory. As long as you're a good person, I don't care.
Sure.
You're a bad person, get the hell out.
Sure.
Period.
Is there a clear line? Are there gray areas between good and evil?
Yes.
Yes.
There are gray areas, or there's a clear line.
There's gray areas.
How so?
Who knows a man's heart?
That's right. That's exactly right. You know,
Well, I mean, you used to be able to watch an old Western, and the guy with the white hat on was the good guy, and the black hat was the bad guy.
Evil, yeah.
You know, and nowadays, you know, when a guy walks into a bar and shoots 49 people and kills them, I think that's evil.
He's got
Yeah.
a black hat on.
Yeah, he's got a black hat on.
Yeah.
So
If
we're
they'd
the
have
gray
seen that
areas.
hat at the door, they should have stopped him.
Yes. So we're the guy. Where are the gray areas at?
the gray area.
I think the gray areas that we're talking about, I think they're false, and I think they were created by politicians.
That's possible.
Because I think there is a definite right and a definite wrong,
Oh, there is definitely a definite right.
and
a definite
maybe, you know, this is the melting pot, and I believe we should always accept immigrants. I think we should do it in the correct way, though.
Legally, no problem.
Absolutely, but when you look at it, you know, they have to live by our laws if they're going to move here, and some people just are not going to mix with us.
That's right.
You know, they're just not, because they have totally different cultures, and they're just not going to mix in our melting pot. It's not going to work.
Why do I got to
and-
press one for English?
Yeah, unless they're willing to conform and be an American. You know, and I think people should be able to practice their own religion, do what they want to do, but for me, it stops at the violence.
Yeah.
You know, it's good and it's evil. In America, it's good not to kill people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very good. Not to
Yes, and it's bad to kill people.
Very good.
There's no gray area there. It's right or it's wrong.
That's
period.
Right. You're right. What I was talking about, the gray area, is just like you saying, though. We have a melting pot, and people from one region of the world do not have the same beliefs as people
Right.
from another region of the world. You know, and how some people grew up. And I'm not talking about violence. We're taking violence completely out of the situation. But and I don't know how to give an example, but like for a bottle of water here, this region of the world here, you shouldn't drink that bottle of water. And this region of the world over here, you can drink this bottle of water. There's your gray area. You know, who's right and who's wrong here. You know, that's it. But violence, no, there's definitely right and wrong. But that's the gray area. I'm talking
and
about.
you know, and our laws and our beliefs in America, we have a well-defined right and wrong. But then when you go to other countries, that's where the gray
we?
areas start. When you try to mix the two.
Do we? Do we
I
have
think
a
so.
definite? Okay,
We do. What's running the country?
We do.
doesn't.
We know.
Okay.
We know. I know, and you know.
okay. Well, by our laws, is there definite right and wrong by our laws?
They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be by the
Exactly.
Constitution. But
By
when
the
you
Constitution,
and,
but-
and if we held our Constitution sacred like we're supposed to and didn't manipulate it,
That's
then
right.
those gray areas would not exist.
That's exactly right.
You know, so as a country, and we live here as Americans with our beliefs, you know, we have the black hats and the white hats, and then when you bring other people in with different cultures, that's where the gray areas come in. But when they come here, they need to understand what the black hat is and what the white hat is.
Right.
If they understand that, we all get along. You know, we're not going to bring them here and persecute them or say, hey, you can't do this or do that. But, you know, they just can't kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main
That's
thing,
the
right?
main thing. Don't kill nobody.
Don't kill anybody. Just come here and you know, start your own business and make a bunch of money and get fat and die, you know?
Make sure you pay your taxes.
Yes, pay your taxes for sure. Don't live off of, you know, my hard work. Don't do that. What else do you guys want to talk about? It's been an hour. I don't want to keep you here all night.
I don't care.
Yeah.
My wife hates me.
So
Matter of fact, I'm thinking about moving in.
discuss that?
I'm thinking about moving in over here.
How does that make you feel?
There's no gray area in that. I can tell you that.
What about the video that we was talking about earlier, Chris? That's going.
yes,
around?
yes. Hold your mic up. I want to make sure everybody hears this. Yeah.
There's a video that we watched on Facebook just a day or so, and there's probably a lot of people in the country who've seen this, and this is old news to them. But there was a Canadian that was captured by ISIS, and I've watched a lot of things, a lot of shows throughout life, and a lot of horror movies and things that had a lot of violence in them, and we all watch it. It's entertainment. But there is an actual video of an Islamic group that captured a Canadian person, a man, a human, a regular person, and held him at ransom. Canada refused to pay the ransom, and they sawed his head off while he was alive. And this wasn't a video shot from 50, 60 foot away. This video was shot from 3 and 4 foot away from this gentleman, God rest his soul, that as they sawed his head off over a minute live.
Yeah.
And this turns my stomach more than anything I have ever seen in my 43 years.
And I couldn't watch it. I've seen it once before. I saw it several years ago, and that was enough. One beheading was enough for me, and it's ingrained in my mind forever.
Yeah.
And I don't have to see it again. But I think that stuff's important to be out there just because I think people should be aware of it, and they don't need to forget.
No, it shows what kind of people that we're
Yes.
dealing with. These people are heartless, cruel people that have their own agenda, that all they think about. And I listened to a preacher on Facebook the other day talk about that in the Quran there's like 63 mentions of sword being used to get your point across and killing people.
Right.
That's a black hat. You
I think that's a black hat. Yeah.
You don't kill people just for the sake of killing people.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's a black hat, and that's what we need to start looking at. What's a black hat? What's a white hat? I mean, I think that's what most Americans want from our government. I mean, to me, I believe in a smaller government. I think that they should basically be in charge of keeping us safe.
They should be in charge of keeping the roads in good shape and funding and watching.
Even if they didn't do the road thing, I'm sure a private contractor would love to jump in there and do that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, that's getting off into a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But I don't want anybody to think that this was a political conversation. I didn't mean for it to be that way. I meant for it to just be people sitting around that are worried, that are nervous about the future of America. I mean, is America going to? What are we leaving for our kids, for our children? What's it going to be like in 20 years from now?
Now it's piss poor.
Yeah, are they going to have the same childhood we had, Mike?
No.
Or Tiff?
It's going to be pure hell. It's going to be a lot worse unless something changes and something straightens up. It's going to be a lot worse. And as much as I love my kids and should grandkids roll around, I'd love to be here as long as possible. But at the same time, I don't want to be here. I don't want to see it. It's already bad enough that it makes me a nervous wreck now. I don't want to see it 20 years from now.
You think most Americans have given up, or do you think they've stopped caring?
I think most of them have kind of gotten just scared. They're looking out for themselves. They want to protect themselves, but at the same time, I think they've kind of looked at it as it's not going to happen here. That's not going to happen to me. I don't go there. I don't do this. I don't do that. It's not going to affect me. It's not going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that's the case.
But it is happening here, isn't it?
It is. It's very much everything you see on Facebook and everywhere else. Everything you see, it's not just overseas in some other, country. It's here on American soil.
Sure.
And
I mean, wouldn't you love a government that would just say, when Canadians are getting beheaded and when people are getting shot up in nightclubs and when World Trade Centers are falling down, wouldn't you just love to see a president that will go in there with his white hat on and just light these guys up?
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. And I'm not putting down, when I say this, I'm not putting down our president. You have to show respect for the office. Whoever's in the office, it doesn't matter. You have to show the respect. Now, we can disagree with
But
what
we
it
also
says.
have freedom of speech.
That's exactly
We
right.
do.
But they do their best.
I wish that when things happened, he would have stood up and took the bull by the horns. I really wish that he'd have ended it quickly.
Well, on this ISIS video in there, you can't tell me, with all of the technology that we got, when they're broadcasting 5 and 6 broadcasts, several out there showing what they're going to do to him, that we couldn't have tracked it down, and that our president couldn't send a group of SEALs over there and stop this before it ever got.
Well, I mean, it could have been recorded.
Well,
it could have happened.
But they had to broadcast it from somewhere.
They broadcasted it
Go to
live.
where it went from
Yeah.
and kick down doors, do whatever. I guarantee you, if that had been the president's nephew that was captured out there, they'd have found him in 3 days.
Sure, absolutely.
And it was somebody's nephew. It was somebody's.
It's like somebody's grandfather or
Yeah.
father or something. Yeah.
And I'm not just saying it on this particular time. It's on every time. They can stop terrorism if they put a hard enough. And when they start seeing that we go
See,
over there,
these
when they
types
do
of people
something-
have been around for thousands of years. But why wasn't it this? It wasn't this bad 50 years ago.
Maybe it's
Well,
because we just didn't have the
think
public
about
media.
it. Think about 50 years ago. All right. You asked earlier when our decline started. Mm-hmm. All right? Think about it. 50 years ago, Vietnam, wide open. Actually just started 50 years ago. Just prior to that, the Korean War. The United States has always been the world's police department. These people hate us. Mm-hmm. Why are we trying to help them? I'm sorry. I know there's good people over there.
Mm-hmm.
We stick our nose into everything.
We stick our nose into everything. If we would quit being the world's police department and say, okay, do whatever you got to. But no, hold on a second. We got oil over there. We got to think about.
But they didn't bring none of it back.
Well, I know it, but I mean that's the argument. We've got oil over there, or we need to start worrying about our own, and our own is even the immigrants that come in. I mean, we have to worry about our own, and to me, I say close the borders.
Well, I can agree with that. I mean, I believe people should be able to come in legally, and I believe we should, just run just really critical background checks and all that. But I mean, as far as the government goes, I mean, I think our first and foremost objective would be to protect our country. If we have to build a wall or put up a force field or whatever we got to do, let's do that.
But now it's got to our country's interest. Mm-hmm. See, that's where our problem's at, is our country's interest. Where our interest is the oil in Saudi Arabia. Stuff like that. Hey, technology's growing every day. Mm-hmm. We've got enough oil here in the United States to last a while. Mm-hmm. Guarantee if you cut off Western medicine over there,
you look at these big oil companies that go in and buy out these patents for these engines that'll get you 80 miles to the gallon or 100 miles to the gallon. That's one of the problems. Right. But I mean, if we protect our borders first, we make sure we're secure. None of the black hats are getting in. At that point, okay, well, let's make sure we're helping keep our allies safe. And I think that's just the right thing to do.
I agree.
That's how I feel, and I don't mind my tax dollars going to helping out Great Britain or somebody if they need it. But I think our priorities start here on our soil, and then when our allies need help, Israel. I mean, I could never ever imagine letting them go down,
right?
At any cost.
They won't.
They won't. No. So I mean, I think those are our priorities, and I think once we have all of those in line, then we go from there. But it's going to take us a while to get that stuff in order. And that's how I feel, and I feel like a lot of Americans feel the same way, and I just don't know why the government doesn't do it.
There's no profit in it for them.
And that's pretty sad.
That's
if it's all because of money, it's pretty sad.
That's all that's running the company is money.
And you know what? That should piss the hell out of people.
It does, but nobody cares enough to do anything about it.
Why doesn't anybody do anything about it?
Because you have to have money to live.
Keep us.
But aren't we doing something?
That's a sad thing.
Aren't we doing something about it right now?
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah,
get the word out.
That's kind of where it starts, right?
That's
so
right.
I mean, we talk about it. People start writing letters to the government. People start petitioning. I mean, you see all of these Occupy Wall Streets and Occupy this and that, and all they're trying to do is cause problems. But there's a right way to do this stuff too. If you go out and you harass your government in a nonviolent way, and again, I want to revert back to Martin Luther King. He had it right. We need a leader like that around today that's going to show people how to occupy and how to do it the right way.
Right.
And I mean, we can do stuff. You don't have to have a lot of money. You can write letters. You can get on your phone and make phone calls. You can vote. You can get on the radio and talk. You can do whatever you need to do. And if nothing else, I can sleep at night because I felt like I did something.
Right.
I can say this. When you say we can vote, we all have the right to vote. That's
sure.
A given right. But what if there's nobody worth voting for?
Do you want to take this one, or do you want me to take it?
I'm not saying this.
I'm going to take this one.
Let's don't put this into who's running right now. Let's just say, what if you've got 3 black hats running? What do you do?
We got the answer for that.
Are you going to break?
We've got the answer that helps me sleep at night. I mean,
you vote for the grayest of the black hats.
I say it's all about voting for your conscience. When people are telling you to go this way or people are telling you to go that way, You don't have to. There are other names on the card. You can find out about these people and you can vote for them. You don't have to vote for this person or that person. You can vote for somebody that you want to be president. And yeah, you may lose and things might get bad. But at least at the end of the day, you can say that you fought for your freedom in this country by voting your conscience and not voting the popular way because people are telling you to vote that way. Vote who you want to be president.
Like you said, there's other names on that ballot. There's other names there. It's no different than in high school when you're nominating and electing a high school president, your class president, and this and that. There's other names on that. Usually it's your more popular one that I'm not pointing any fingers, but there's there are you have your more popular names. Ones that are on there, and some of them are good and they're going to do something, or it's just high school.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
part of your life,
what do we always tell our kids?
A trend.
We tell them to do the right thing.
Exactly.
So for me, it's about, and you guys might disagree, but for me and Allie, we've discussed this and we've lost sleep over this, but it's about doing the right thing, even if you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. I don't want to vote for one president because I don't want the other person to be president.
Yeah.
You want to vote for somebody and not against somebody. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's my feeling on it. Now, we're probably in the minority on this because when you look at, say you look at the Republican Party, they're going to tell you, they're going to get on board with Trump whether they totally agree with him or not.
Because he's the presumptive nominee, so they feel like that's their choice.
That's what the problem. They want everybody to vote for one person here and one person there, because if you have diversity and 10 people to vote for, but this side over here stays together and just tries to support the Democrat, then these split up have no chance against one. Mm-hmm. 10 can't run and beat one. One's got to run against one.
Yeah, and I just can't. I can't vote against somebody. I have to vote for somebody. So if I have to go in there and write a name on the ballot, I'll do it.
And I don't believe
I can sleep at night.
I don't believe in staying home either, because in my opinion, I think that voting is important. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, your vote doesn't matter, these delegates don't matter or whatever, but your vote does matter. And whether you get what you voted for or not, you still got to make your voice heard.
The best way to get your voice heard
for president
is not at a presidential election. It's at your local level.
Yes,
that's where you start.
What a great point! I'm glad you're bringing this up.
You have to watch your mayors, your county mayors, your congressmen, or your state senates and stuff like that. I mean, it all starts hometown.
Mm-hmm. It's the dinner table theory.
It's the dinner table theory. That's exactly right.
Say you've got 2 black cats that are run for president. Well, then start with your community.
That's right.
Yeah. What a great point.
The thing is, like I've always said, I laugh on Facebook. I've got some very good friends that are diehard Democrats. I've got some friends that are diehard Republicans. And I sit back and laugh at them when they're on Facebook. I mean, I get in there with them. I don't have a problem. I'll tie right in with them. But the funny thing is it doesn't matter who it is. They're going to vote that party.
They don't care.
That party.
If they got an R by their name or a D by their name.
Yeah, it's that party. My uncle was he's a serious supporter of the Democratic Party. And I told him.
How old's your uncle?
He's 90, 93, 94.
It used to be that was a good thing.
Yes.
It used to be the Republicans stood for this, the Democrats stood for this, and I was raised a Democrat all the way up until I got out on my own and slowly started. And I'm not saying I'm Republican or Democrat, because like y'all were saying, I look at what they're talking about. I really do. Mm-hmm. I don't look at this is a Republican or this is a Democrat. That was an old way of thinking that I had growing up.
Uh-huh. But a lot of people have that still, especially the older generations.
Does,
mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. There is no way the better man could be a Republican. I mean, or woman or whatever could be a Republican. He ain't voting that way.
Yeah, you could sit there and have a conversation with him on conservative values all day long, But then when it comes down to voting, he's still going to vote
That's
Democrat,
exactly it.
even if that's
exactly it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes. Now, Jasmine says, if we don't take action now, then we may never have the chance to take action until we're screwed. And she's absolutely right.
I agree with this.
Yeah, I mean, we're just being passive and we're letting things slide by, and I don't know. We just seem like we're not caring anymore. I want to say hi to Kristen that's listening. Thank you, Calpote, for tweeting the show. I appreciate you. And like I said, the main thing that we're trying to do on the show today, if you just tuned in, we're only trying to discuss what's going on in America, and I'm not trying to have any certain political views or political agendas or anything like that. We're just people like you that are sitting around discussing what's on our mind. And we all do this, whether you do it in front of a microphone or whether you do it around the water cooler at work. Maybe you do it at the restaurant, wherever you do it. We're all having the same discussions, and I want you to know that you're not alone. I mean, what happened in Orlando was a horrible, horrible thing, but when I look at that, I also wonder, is what happened in Orlando as bad as what's happening now? And when I say that, what I mean is the fact that America doesn't seem to care. I think that's the real tragedy. And it goes a lot further than people not expressing themselves on Facebook like they should be doing. But nobody's really standing up and crying out and saying, hey, what are we going to do about this? 50 Americans just died. There was a terrorist attack on our soil. And evidently he did have ties to ISIS. But even if he didn't have ties to ISIS, it was still a terrorist attack. He terrorized 49, well, I don't know how many people were in the nightclub. He killed 49 people, but he terrorized all those people in that club. So what are we going to do about it? That's my biggest question. And maybe there's an answer out there, maybe there's not. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are a lot smarter than me that could come up with a great answer that we could get behind and support. Maybe eventually we'll get auto mechanics and we'll get farmers in office.
That would be
That's
great.
the solution.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but it's the solution.
People that
Not
really
wearing a
understand
tie.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, and and I
You
think
don't have to wear a tie.
Fez, not a tie.
and there's been people that have come to me and said, I don't like anybody that's running. I've given up, and my thing is, we should always have hope.
We should always have hope.
We should never give up because the greatest politician could still be playing t-ball right now.
That's right.
We just don't know. So eventually,
Well, don't worry, because next week we'll be more concerned about the next America's Top Model or something, and
Sure.
they'll forget all about.
We'll go back
everything
to the
in Orlando.
bathroom conversation again.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Oh
on.
no, that one's done. That one's already. If you pay attention to that now, it's already finished. You're not hearing nothing on it no more.
Chewbacca lady ruined that one.
Yeah.
And
She
then
got
you
that
the
one
gorilla.
off.
Thank you, Chewbacca lady.
Yeah, then the gorilla came along, so
Yeah.
it's, that's all done. But I do appreciate you guys. I was looking here at my notes, and I didn't really go over any of them, but I think we had a good conversation.
We did.
And I think we made some good points, and I think people know that we're coming from a real place, and maybe we weren't so politically correct, or maybe we said some wrong things, but it's all coming from an honest place, and we just care. And I just wish that our government would reflect that.
Well,
would
my
reflect
thing
what
is,
we
if
think.
if any of the government people are listening to us right now, we just saved the United States. So we just solved all the problems.
They just bought 5 bullets.
We just solved
They're
all the
all
problems.
about gun control.
But thank you guys so much for stopping by today
Thank you,
and
Chris.
doing this. I appreciate you guys. It's nice having friends on here face to face because we talk to all kinds of different people from
We
around
really
the world
do,
all the time,
yeah.
and it's really cool. But when it comes down to it, and I can have family in here with me, just talking about what's going on in the community. And when I say community, I'm talking about Orlando, and I'm talking about other places in the world because it's a pretty small world these days. So it's nice having familiar faces in here to talk to and get some stuff off of my chest, for sure. But I love you guys, and I respect you guys, and I appreciate you coming in. You got anything else?
JP says, vote for Chris Top for president of the USA and Allie Top as vice president. And then I put I'd be a cooler president than Chris Top.
Yeah, probably.
I
probably.
vote for both of you,
That's-
so it don't matter. You got my vote.
Ride them in, ride them in.
Put
Man, that's right.
put Mike in charge of security, and
Right.
we'll be,
Hey, he's
we'll
got
be good
that
to go.
covered.
He's got all the guns. We'll be good. All right. Well, that's it. You want to take us out?
Heck yeah, want to
All
take
right.
us out?
Go for it.
Thank you for listening to the Chris Top program. And until we broadcast again, please remember this. Life is good, and we're gone.
Maybe a dark things might be looking grim. I guess it's time for an acronym.
2, 3, 4.
W